Assalamu alaikum, hello and namaste. Welcome to another supernatural series, episode number 87 of the Limelight. Well, today's topic is Astral Travel, and to talk on it, we have Vaishali Nikhade, who is a psychic and the host of the podcast, The Uncanny Link, where physics meets metaphysics or science meets woo. She has been a podcast guest on several podcasts. So, listeners, let's get started. Hello, Vaishali. How are you doing today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing good, and it's really nice to have you on my podcast.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
You're welcome. So, Vaishali, before we talk about astral travel, would you like to tell about yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So I used to be an engineer and then I transitioned to psychic. And what I did was I went to several psychics, so maybe like over 20, 30 psychics, and I was trying to get some answers from them. And I was not able to get any answers. And at a certain number, I don't recall the exact number, but I think it was close to like 30 or 40 of them. I said, oh my God, these guys about. I need to learn this myself and figure it out. So I decided to learn it myself and reading on myself, and I started experimenting on myself. And I started to see how the readings would play out and refine my reading skills. And initially, I was skeptical. I didn't believe it. I just could be predicted, sort of a thing. But as I moved along, like I started experimenting with very short time frames, like just short time periods, like for instance, going to the gym. And because that would be like a short window, like 60 minutes, 90 minutes. And I said, if I can figure out what's going to happen in 60 or 90 minutes, then I can figure out what will happen over a longer period of time. This was like the start of my journey. And the first 2, 3 days when I started doing it, everything started playing out the way I had predicted. So I got really, really mad because, you have to understand I came from a scientific background and it was more left brain and this is all right brain. So I kind of threw my hands up in the air and I said, like, how is it that I am able to see what's going to happen? And if I'm able to see, then I can change. So one day I decided, I think this was either day 4 or day 5, and I decided that what I'll do the opposite. And I was supposed to either run or go in the gym. So that was like my cardio days. So I would alternate between running and going on the Stairmaster. So I said that, okay, if the reading says I'll do the Stairmaster, then I'll go and run. So I'd be wrong and I would be right. And yay, it would be so much fun to prove that the reading is wrong. So then, when I saw that reading, I completely fell off my chair. I was like, oh my God. And the way it showed it was that the reading was also right, and I was also right. And I could either do the or the run, and both of us would be right. So, do you want to guess what the reading showed?
I have no idea.
Okay. So, the reading showed that there is a woman at crossroads.
Oh, oh, okay.
That was the day I started believing in it. Okay, so now that I know that this can be done, so I started looking at things differently and I started playing with things. And I started going a little bit more in depth into reading. And once I was comfortable with predicting for myself, I started reading for clients. And then the clients came and they also started reporting that, oh, then that happened. So that's how I got started.
That's a really amazing kind of incidents you had, and that made you to learn what the future readings are all about.
Yeah, it's definitely an accident. Like nobody gets up and says, "Today I'm going to become a psychic." It was a series of events that led me, and now I have read over 7,000 people. Maybe I've read lots,
Mhm.
and a lot of clients come back to me, giving me testimonials of how my readings have played out in their life, and I predict their future girlfriend or boyfriend. Some of them are related to legal transactional deals.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask you this. What is astral traveling according to?
Astral travel is just traveling in what is known as the astral plane. So we are all living in this earth plane. In this plane, we are mainly dealing with our physical body, but we also have a spirit. So the human being word is made of words, which is human and being. So the human is the body part, and the being is the spirit part. So is when the spirit can actually leave the body and travel, and then it can come back. So when we go to sleep at night, that's when our body actually needs rest. Our body is designed so that our body needs rest. So when we go to sleep at night, our spirit, it can travel into astral plane, and the astral plane is just another plane, and we can sort of go and interact with other spirits, and we can come back up. That's when the spirit comes back in the body, and then we wake up. So the way we can use it, so if you've ever heard that, I'll sleep over it, or let me sleep over it, people use that phrase or that term, let me sleep over it. Or if you just like think about a problem you have and go to sleep, and next day morning you wake up for the answer. And even if you've never tried this before, what you can do is think of a problem you have and think of like the answer you're looking for before going to bed. And then next day morning, just note what are the first few thoughts that come to your mind. Do this. Try it maybe 3 to 5 days in a row and see if you get any answers. And chances are that you will steps to move forward. And if you just keep taking those next steps, you'll be able to kind of move forward. So that's how astral travel works.
Wow, that was so incredible information, and it really helps us to solve the problem. It is really nice to know.
Yeah, you should try it and then see what happens. And as well, if you're listening to the podcast, then just think of a problem before you go to bed, and then just think of what are the first thoughts that come to your.
Yes, I will surely try this.
Yeah, very small and simple experiment. Definitely
Yes,
something doable and simple.
yes, exactly. Okay, now after all these questions, I have a fun segment for you. It is called the rapid fire round. I will be asking you three random questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence,
Okay, let's see what you got.
okay? Okay. My first question is, what was the best compliment you ever got?
So the best compliment, I'll just tie it to the readings, which is
Mhm.
essentially when I have the prediction of their future girlfriend or future boyfriend, and they
Mhm.
come back and say that, oh my God, he's like exactly the way you had. So it's more of the energy they project rather than the
Okay.
compliment. Of course, there's a compliment, but it's more of their excitement and happiness.
Right. That is so nice. Okay. My second question is, who was your superhero in your childhood?
Who was my superhero in my childhood? So when I was growing up, I always admired Devi and Madhuri Dixit as actresses.
Oh, lovely. But they're not superheroes, right? They're actresses.
I know.
Okay, my last question is, tell me about one thing which you cannot live without.
cannot live without is exercise. I am a fitness freak and I love to exercise. So I try to, no matter how busy I am, I try to fit in exercise during my day.
Wow, that is so nice. Okay, that was the end of my rapid fire round. Your answers were amazing.
Cool.
We reached to the last segment of our show where we ask your advice for our listeners.
I would like to say that our eyes cannot see, or maybe what our eyes can see will deceive us. Like you see something and you see what you see. And sometimes what you hear, that can sort of deceive us too. But our intuition, it will because the intuition comes from a higher sense or a higher level or a higher self. And it's actually information to you. So you should always sort of listen to your intuition and see what it's trying to tell you. So you have to always see, like, does it really feel right? Do you feel good in your gut? Or are there a lot of red flags? Sometimes people may just feel like, oh, every time I see that, I get sick in my stomach, which means that something is off over there. Oh, I don't feel good about it. That's just another way your intuition is trying to tell you that, hey, don't move forward. Always trust your gut. And I talk a little bit about it in my Uncanny Link. You can listen to some of the episodes of the podcast as well.
Wow, that was lovely advice, Vaishali, and I thank you so much for taking time and doing this podcast with me.
It's fun to do the podcast with you.
Okay, listeners, if you have liked this episode, please click on the like button of the Limelyte page. And also, I will give the details regarding Vaishali's podcast, the Uncanny Link. You can check it out and hear. Thank you for listening and Allah Hafiz.